I have a child?
What?
I have a child! And don't worry, kid. Whoever you are, Dad will find you.
Oh, what's up, you guys? I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and today we're going to be discussing some of the stunning revelations that we received in the Dadfinder video released on Twitter today. It wasn't exactly an official stories of the Outlands. It was actually made by a member of the community, which Apex Legends has been doing a ton of this season. This community member has actually made amazing CGI videos with Unreal Engine and all of the models of the Apex Legends characters. They've made one for Bloodhound, one for Pathfinder. You should check them out down below. Going to be linked in the description and the pinned comment. But moving on to the actual content of the video and what we learned. Everything that was shown in this video actually occurred in the Pathfinder's Quest novel that was released earlier this year. You should still definitely buy it because there's a lot of information that leads up to that, but what you saw was the culmination of Pathfinder's efforts to find out his past, which he had learned from Blisk. He went directly to Kuben Blisk at the very end of the book and got a file. And this showed him all of the information that he shared with the audience at the presentation. That 75 years ago, a group of scientists had gotten all together to try to figure out the energy crisis, but they had struggled to refine the Brantium because they could not be inside the chamber while the refining process was happening, and they were unable to make the fine-tuned adjustments necessary. So they created Pathfinder, a robot who was capable of withstanding all that radiation that they then spent an entire year teaching how to handle all of the stuff, the science, and giving him all of their skills. Unfortunately, after Pathfinder helped them, they were betrayed by Dr. Reed, who as soon as the Brantium was refined, attacked the facility and attempted to steal it. And they weren't attacked by just anybody. They were actually attacked by apex predators. That's right, apex predators, who must have been hired by one of those crazy Hammond Robotics research divisions. If you recall back in Titanfall 2, the apex predators, led by Kuben Blisk and also accompanied by Ash, were assaulting the planet of Typhon, specifically trying to ensure the delivery of the Arc device to the Fold weapon for the Ares Research Division, and they didn't really care about the IMC that got in the way. So Dr. Reed has captured all of the scientists, has secured the Brantium, and is trying to send it all the way to Gridiron, the homeworld of the IMC. But fortunately, Pathfinder intercepts them, stops the Phase Runner, and has been programmed with some amazing combat skills and is able to take on the apex predators. And with the help of his friends, his fellow scientists, is able to stop them from sending the Brantium to Gridiron, but they are about to be attacked by a second wave of forces. They don't have time to stop it, so they instead send all of the Brantium to everybody in the Outlands, to all of the other planets that are nearby, and then sacrifice themselves by initiating the self-destruct sequence for the Phase Runner, which would eventually leave behind the massive rift. Pathfinder was able to escape through the Phase Runner with the last shipment of Brantium to the Solace City, but unfortunately his scientist friends were not able to travel through the Phase Runner because living organic matter was not able to be passed through that device at that time. So, shocking information, but this raises some crazy questions. First off, why is Hammond Robotics celebrating the very individual that prevented them from achieving their goals 75 years ago? Why are they taking Pathfinder, who they've now discovered was the reason they couldn't get a hold of the Brantium? Why are they putting him on a pedestal? Why are they celebrating him? It's because Hammond Robotics is on a massive marketing scheme, PR stunt tour, in order to basically preempt their conquering of the Outlands. It's like that old adage, you get more bees with honey instead of vinegar. If you come and lead forward with this nice, amazing public face, you're going to be able to do all kinds of shady stuff in the background and get away with it. So, why Pathfinder specifically? Because Pathfinder is one of the only individuals left alive that may be willing to work with Hammond Robotics and has the information that they want. They've already tried to get the information from Mary Summers. As soon as she came back from the black hole, they tried to bribe her, saying, hey, we're going to give you all of the money that you need for your time travel experiments. You just come on over, work with us at Hammond Robotics. And she's like, no, thank you. I can do it all very much on my own. I got betrayed last time I tried to work with somebody else, so I'm preferring to work solo right now. Then when scrolling even further backwards, that kind of gives us some insight into why they wanted to recover Ash in the first place. If you recall, Ash is a simulacrum of Dr. Reed, one of the scientists that was working on the project and the one that had in fact worked with the Apex Predators, betrayed all of the scientists, and was trying to send the Branthium to Gridiron. They took her, they had her head reassembled, and then as soon as that head was reassembled, they just took the information out of it and then tossed her in the garbage. So Hammond Robotics has been, for the past 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons since they've arrived in the Apex games, they have been trying to pick up the pieces of the Branthium research that was left behind after the Outlands was separated and cut off from the rest of the frontier. Something else that's extremely important to know about this is that the planet Harvester being put on World's Edge is directly related to Branthium. Once again, tying back to Pathfinder's quest. In a small side note inside the Bloodhound chapter, they mention that their parents were working on collecting Branthium, microscopic tiny little pieces of Branthium from the lava flows that were inside coming from World's Edge. So that's the reason that this planet is so extremely important to Hammond Robotics' plans, and it's also directly tied to all of the Branthium research and everything that Hammond Robotics has been trying to do, has been trying to get a hold of that Branthium research and the ability to get a hold of this extremely potent source of power. But one of the questions that followed up immediately after I started thinking about this, of like, okay, so Hammond Robotics has been working on this, and then they took Ash and tossed her to the side. At that same moment is when we saw Kuben Blisk come back onto the scene. He recovered. He'd been supposedly missing from the Apex scene for about the previous year. He's been gone, hasn't been seen, has been making all kinds of behind the scenes action stuff. We have no idea. We're still learning more about it. He was keeping an eye on Rampart. He was communicating with Valkyrie, having her collect some sort of salvage. She not only got the Titan, but she was on a mission for Kuben Blisk. She was trying to recover something for him. And it couldn't have been the Titan because she took that and kept it for herself. So she got something else for Kuben Blisk from the planet of Typhon. Something we still don't know. Maybe even a piece of the Arc Shard, but that's something else. Now, my big question though is Kuben Blisk, all this work that he's been doing in the background, he's been collecting Ash. He's been setting up the arenas that are not official Apex games. Is Kuben Blisk working to create a new set of Apex Predators? And is he doing this to work with Hammond Robotics, or is he doing this to work against Hammond Robotics? Scrolling back even further, back to that Season 6 moment, where Kuben Blisk was recovering Ash's, was talking to Ash, and Ash had the flashback about how she ended up in this alternate dimension in the first place. And it's Kuben Blisk apologizing to her, saying he has to do it so they can't get the information, and then he tosses her through the portal. So who was he hiding Ash from, and why? That's a huge question that's going to give us a lot of insight into Kuben Blisk's motives, what he's doing right now, because he's working a lot behind the scenes in order to set up something that we still don't quite know about. Then finally, he leaves us with the big boom. Did you know, Pathfinder, that there was another one of you out there, that they had spare parts of you and that they made a second one after you disappeared? Bam. So that's the big mystery they left us off trying to think about, but I came up with all this other stuff watching it. But my random first inclination is, was Ash the robot that they made from his backup parts? It's a stretch. I know it's a stretch. But what do you guys think? What do you think? Who is Sunfinder? Who is Pathfinder's unknown son? And is Dadfinder going to be disappointed when he figure out what the identity of his son actually is? Thank you so much for sticking around, guys. If you guys love Apex Legends lore and backstory, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click some of the videos you see on your screen right now. In the meantime, I'm not amazing. I'm just mediocre. And I'm out.